Hi, ELPS class of 2026. This is Mrs. Kilbay. Today I'm going to take you through a little bit about how to use our plan book, and that's where you're going to find your videos and all of your assignments and materials that you might need to use while we are together. Don't worry, Jack has decided to join us in our lesson today as well. I'm going to go ahead and click to my computer. With the communication that you or your guardian received from Mrs. Martin, there was a link to our platform or the plan book where we will be using our materials. Once you click on that link, a screen similar to the one you see here is going to pop up. On this plan book is where you're going to find all your materials. Starting up top, you'll find the day. Mr. Hyde and I are going to be posting our assignments under Tuesday and Thursday of each week, since those are the suggested days that you participate in your science lessons. This plan book will be up and open to you with all of the lessons as we get them uploaded. So although they are posted on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you can feel free to take a look at either day at any time that works for you. You'll see that the date is listed up top. You'll have the lessons for the week in one view when you click on that link. If you want to go ahead and look at a lesson in weeks that are coming up, if you click on the arrow that is pointing to the right, it will move you to the next set of lessons. Please keep in mind that they may or may not be ready for you depending on if you try to work ahead. Also, if you wanted to go to a certain day, you can click on the calendar icon and it will bring up a calendar of April. If you go ahead and click on the day that you're interested in, it will take you right to that day. Just be mindful that the lessons are only posted on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you were to click in a day of the week that was something like a Wednesday, you might find that there isn't going to be a lesson posted because they're only posted under Tuesdays and Thursdays. I can always go back to today's date by clicking on the word today. Now, I'm making this video on the 16th, so you'll notice that it is yellow bar up top that lets me know I'm looking at today's date. And then you'll see I'll move forward where hopefully you're watching this on the 21st or the 23rd to see this information. Now, we are going to try to keep the layout to be similar each time. There will always be a little welcome message. You will find a link for the YouTube video for that day's lesson, as well as a link to the exit ticket. Also, as we start to go over items, so for example, next week in our first lesson to introduce our topic, let's say that we had a PowerPoint or we had a paper we needed you to look at. You will find that down here under attachments. On Tuesdays, I posted a sample document just so you could click on that and play around with it. So hopefully you've had a chance to download that and look at it. Underneath the word attachments, not only will you find the materials that we will go over in our lessons, but you should also find the continuing activity that we will post for you to work on after you've gone through our lesson. If you have any questions about this, please feel free to rewatch this video or feel free to reach out to us over email. Like I said, we are going to try to keep everything linked right here. So all of your videos, materials, items that we cover, follow-up papers, you will find linked on this page. Now, in our last video, both Mr. Hyde and I told you a little bit about ourselves and about our backgrounds. And one of the things that I mentioned was that I am a fan of Michigan State University. I graduated from Michigan State University with a degree in agri-science. I grew up in the country and on a farm and grew up with all kinds of animals: pigs, sheep, chickens, and cows. So recently, I came across this picture and I just love animals. So I was taking a look at this picture and I noticed something really unusual about it. So this is a picture of a water buffalo. But as you start looking closer at the water buffalo, you might notice there's some kind of animal hitching a ride. These animals happen to be frogs. Now this is very curious to scientists as they start looking at ecosystems and animals and how do they interact and how does energy and food move through the ecosystems. Things like frogs hitching a ride on a water buffalo can make scientists wonder. They have all kinds of wonderings about what is going on with the relationship between these two animals. Now, to help us kind of get started into our unit that we're going to do together, I would like you to take a look at these frogs that are hitching a ride on the water buffalo. And I wonder, what do you wonder about it? I mean, I'm wondering things like, how are they hanging on? Why are they there? Does it annoy the water buffalo that they're hitching a ride? So I'm going to ask you today to go on the plan book. And one of the things that you're going to notice is that there is a link that says click here for exit ticket question. So what I'd like to have you do is go ahead and click there after you've had a chance to watch the video and become familiar with how our plan book is set up. And let us know, what are you wondering about that picture? Now, something you might notice about the exit ticket is that I did give you a photo that kind of zooms in on the frogs. So perhaps you're going to want to go kind of between that picture that you can find in the attachment. So again, I'm going to click over and open up that photo so you can look at either this picture, which has the entire water buffalo, has the frogs, you see them hitching a ride, or when you go into the exit ticket, you're going to notice that there's a little bit of a zoomed in photo. So why don't you go ahead, give us some information. Again, we're always going to ask that you give us your first and last name, as well as let us know, is Mr. Hyde your science teacher or am I? What hour were you attending science before we went on our break? And then you're going to see my question, which is, what is one wondering that you have about the frogs hitching a ride on the water buffalo? Underneath the picture, you'll see a spot for your answer. So go ahead, type in your answer, and hit submit. We're going to take a look at some of your wonderings, and that's going to help us to kind of decide, what do you guys want to know about these water buffaloes and the frogs? And that's also going to help us with a little bit of our decision making as we move forward. Our next unit of study that we're going to finish out the year with is going to be around ecosystems and animals and how they interact and how does energy move in these systems. So we just kind of want to know right now, what are your wonderings about some of these animals? All right, we will see you next week. Have a great weekend. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to send us an email and we will get back to you as soon as we can.